Hello everyone, I'm feeling pretty free today, so I wanted to share the epic battle against green tea that my boss fought. Honestly, there isn't a man out there who doesn't know about green tea. There are just some who pretend to be clueless to get a taste of it. My boss, however, is an exception. When he sees green tea, he immediately cuts it off at the source, which is why the women in the company have even appointed him as the president of the Women's Association. So, my company works in finance, and my boss is the head of the planning department. There are two teams in planning, one for analysis and the other for planning, and most of the team members are women, including me. Not long ago, our company hired a receptionist who is quite beautiful and very charming. Just a few days after she started, the men in the company were all around her, infatuated. This receptionist knew how to win people over. Every few days, she would buy milk tea for the women and sometimes bring fruit for the guys. Over time, everyone praised her, both men and women, but my boss always reminded the department to be careful. He didn't want anything to happen between the new receptionist and anyone in our team. At first, we didn't really understand what he meant and thought he was being overly cautious. Little did we know, 2 months later, something actually happened. There was a couple in our department who were about to get married, but for some reason, they canceled at the last minute. We were confused and asked a lot of questions, only to find out that the new receptionist had flirted with the bride-to-be's fiancé. We couldn't believe it. Everything unfolded just like that. One day, my boss called a meeting for the entire department, but the meeting wasn't about work. He told all the men in the room to share how many of them were involved with the receptionist. Surprisingly, almost every one of them had some sort of connection with her. My boss acted like a god, presenting a complete file with all the information about the receptionist for everyone to see. After reviewing it, all the men turned pale. My boss said, "This girl used to work at a company run by a friend of mine, and I've heard quite a few stories about her. I warned you all, but you fell for her childish tricks. Now that you know, stay away from her." This girl was really something else. Ever since her internship, she had been flirting with the higher-ups. When the boss's wife found out, she slapped her right in the middle of the office. After moving to another company, she continued her act of pretending to be weak and fragile, flirting with everyone. Our department knew about her, so we always took the long way around to avoid her. One day, my boss was called in by the director. It turned out that she had accused him of sexual harassment. The whole company was in an uproar, while my boss remained calm and asked her, "Are you sure I harassed you?" She cried pitifully, claiming she just wanted to live a peaceful life and earn money, without any hidden agenda. Many people, not knowing the full story, defended her and criticized my boss. But my boss is really something else. He didn't say anything at first, but showed the surveillance footage to the director. It turned out she noticed that our department always avoided her, so she tried to seduce my boss to get back at us. That day, as my boss was about to drive home, she got into his car, acted all pitiful, and said she had liked him for a long time. But she was secretly recording and editing everything to frame him. Goodness, I can't believe how malicious she was. But as they say, karma always catches up with you. My boss provided evidence that left her speechless. He added a few more lines. "You're still young and naive, and I'm allergic to the likes of you." Those old tricks of pretending to be pitiful and using seductive tactics are just boring. Change your strategy and get lost. As a result, she was humiliated, fired, and now faces the risk of being sued for slandering my boss. After this incident, my boss became the most sought-after man in the company. It's just too bad he's already engaged. Otherwise, I'm sure the women in the office would be fighting tooth and nail for him. It really shows that a man with strength can handle anything.